Come on, please. Yes! 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 Yes!
Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is episode number 12 already, of the 9 Dub Podcast, your one-stop shop for talking tungsten. I'm going to be specifically talking tungsten later in the latest news. We'll get to that right towards the end of the show. Josh is with me after another big week in the great sport of darts. Quite a bit going on both the European Tour and in the Premier League. Hello, and Modus Super Series, of course. Hi, Josh. How have we been?
Yes, good. Thank you. Had a good week. And look, there was so much going on, wasn't there? So we're going to wrap it all up, aren't we? And review and preview what's happening in the planet world of darts.
Absolutely. If you are interested in reviewing how badly Carlton have been later, tune in for the footy chat, which will have probably gone live by the time this is publicly published. We're going to... I'm looking forward to the discussion on Carlton with you. That will be happening in about an hour and a half.
No Carlton hat this week, unlike the last couple ones. Yep. But we are here to talk about darts once a week on the Oki.
The first thoughts, as always, my first thoughts is to expect the unexpected, and that's my big takeaway from the weekend. We had 9 darters, we had 170 outs, we had miscounts. We had all sorts of wacky and wonderful things going on. Anyone can beat anyone. That was the big takeaway again from the Euro Tour. A lot of the big C's crashing out at various points throughout the weeks. A non-C making his way to the final, and I reckon is very close to picking up a major. It was a fun week. It was a fun Euro Tour event. It was the first time they'd been in that particular European Tour city in about 7 years or something, but it was. I thought it was a good event. The crowd was very much involved, pretty much from the Friday night on. It was a good week for mine.
Yes, good to see the Euro Tour back in full swing.
Oh, absolutely.
To have those events back, and no, it's a good week overall. Got to say, the stand was good, the competition was good, and the odds were pretty high.
Good crowds in Wales and Germany where we were. I was mentioning 170 checkouts, and they were all the rage this weekend. Actually. We had quite a few, but the main two for mine is I was actually going to bring up something else. Rob Cross pinning a 170 to beat Gowan Price with him sitting on 36. I saw there was a betting slip posted up online where someone had predicted the correct score for the 4 Premier League matches, and they got the first 3 right, and their last one was Price 6-5. Yep. So they had it all. It was all looking good. They correctly got. I'll actually get the scores in front of me, given I have them here on the wiki. Let me just. It was Dobie 6-2 of Bunting. They correctly predicted that score. I mean, the odds were quite high. Accurately predicted Van Gogh and Ben Humphrey 6-4. Correctly predicted Littler beating Aspinall 6-3. And then they had Price beating Cross 6-5. And at 5-5, and with Price sitting on a dart, 3 darts, a double to win the match. It was looking good. And then Price is left at the back of the Oki. Unbelievable Rob Cross 170 finish, plucks it out of nowhere. He does like a 170 to win a match, Rob Cross, and he got the win on this particular occasion. And even more crazy than that, Gary Anderson, who had a very good European Tour weekend, good to see him playing good stuff as usual. He was left on top 6-5 up in a 1-to-7 leg affair, but then all of a sudden Nathan Aspinall decided he would pull out a 170. Bacon. The crowd went mental. He got the advantage of throwing in the deciding leg, which he would go on to win. Fantastic stuff. 170 checkouts are always amazing. There's only maybe one thing better than a checkout of 170, and that's a checkout over a leg that only takes 9 darts. And if I went one too far there, Luke Littler pins his 3rd televised 9-dart finish, which is already rare air. Not many have done that. He's done it in about a year and a half. And Owen Binks, who was spotting for Sky Sports, refereed the Modus Super Series and been a marker on the PDC stages, was a marker at the Recent World Championships, and content creator king in the darts world asked Luke Littler on social media where he was going on 81, treble 17, double 15. Yeah, Littler was like, that's what I will do. And with 81 left and 2 darts to get the 9-dart finish, that's exactly how he went. Treble 17, double 15. I reckon it's going to catch on, Josh.
I think it has. Exactly. I think more people are doing it. I think I saw actually a game at Modus. I think Mervyn King pinned 81. It was triple 17 and then double 15. So it is catching on.
It is catching on. It's an infectious way to go. The 9-darter was brilliant. I don't think we'll see him go treble 19, double 12 ever again because of how so close yet so far it's been for him on occasions at the back end of last year. But it was fantastic. Cardiff crowd went crazy. Hugh Ware, who is a Welshman, was the referee for that moment, so that was pretty cool as well. In a fantastic match where it was probably better to be throwing second because there were tons of breaks of throw, but Littler did win that. What way am I going on this? That way, that way. You've moved them around, Josh, here. Stop doing that with me.
Sorry.
Stop moving around the canvas. 6-4 win in the final. It was for Littler, who's picked up, I think that was his third nightly win. Fun fact, he said after the match, hadn't picked up his darts since the Premier League night the week before. He's that good. He doesn't need to pick up his darts. He did that after the World Championship in 2024 when he went to Bahrain for the World Series. He said he hadn't picked up his darts in about 2 weeks. Hit a 9-darter, won the tournament. Hit a 9-darter, won the night in Cardiff, beating Nathan Aspinall and Rob Cross. 112.5 average in the final, averaging 102, 107 on his way there. He's very good, isn't he?
Oh, incredible. He just keeps getting it done, and we'll see later in the tally of how far ahead he is in comparison
he
to
is some distance in front.
In terms of night one and games.
I think he's already
played,
sort of
games won.
wanting to get to the O2, and unfortunately for him, that's about 2.5 months away. But in the meantime, he's going to have to sit away by. I think it's pretty comfortable to say at this point he's already won 3 nights. He's going to win at least another 2, you reckon?
You think at least,
which would make which is the record because there's about multiple guys tied on 4 nightly wins for the record of most nightly wins under this format of the Premier League. I think he'll get 5, and I reckon the other thing he'll do. Speaking of 9 darters, is I reckon we talk a lot about will he get to Phil Taylor's 16 world titles. I think that might be a bit unlikely, but he will definitely get, in my view, Phil Taylor's record of 11 televised 9-dart finishes because he's already got 3.
What's he on now?
He's on 3. He had Bahrain, Premier League final, Premier League Cardiff. If he goes at an average of 1 a year, he just needs to be, as long as he's still playing professionally in a decade, it's done. So I think that's definitely in sight. 16 world titles might be difficult.
Could be a bit
At
of a
least
stretch.
12 9-darters on the telly, I think, is definitely happening. He's already a quarter of the way there. He's only been a professional for, 14, 15 months? But a solid night, solid performances. I think that's almost better. I don't think he needs any practice. Just spend all your time on the Xbox.
On Xbox and FIFA and kebabs, hey?
That's all he needs.
That seems to be
just practice
routine,
on the day of your game or games, and that's the easiest way for him to go about it. It was a fantastic occasion.
Whatever works.
In the Premier League in Cardiff. Michael Van Gerwen as well getting to a final was a good story. He also had a bit of a run at the European Darts Trophy, which Nathan Aspinall won, completing the set. He's won a Challenge Tour, Dev Tour, World Series, if you wish to count that. A major title. He's a UK Open and World Match Play champion, and now he's a winner on the European Tour. This is the one part of his game of recent, the Pro Tour form, where he's miles down on the Pro Tour order of merit. Might not have even directly qualified with previous iterations of the Pro Tour format. We know they changed the qualification. We talked about that and some players' reactions to it. But nevertheless, he's picked up that title, Nathan Aspinall. And look, he didn't have it easy. I mean, he played Richie Edhouse, who won the European Championship. Jermaine Watermain is a fine player. Luke Humphries, the world number 1. Gary Anderson in great form. And then Ryan Joyce, who is playing some great stuff in the last sort of 8 months or so. I think you can't say that this wasn't a deserved trophy to be picking up for the Asp.
No, I think he had a very complex draw, actually. You've got some good caliber players there. My favourite game was the game against Jermaine Watermain. 100 average versus 102 average, went down to the last leg.
Yep.
Fantastic quality, both on display. But no, he was fantastic all week. 106 average against Humphries.
Yeah, which is how you have to beat Humphries. You have to blitz him pretty much. We saw it with Peter at the World Championships. You can't beat him in a close match. You need to pretty much blitz him and get going early.
Exactly. No, but fantastic week for him. And you can see the crowd in the background absolutely loving it as well. So he had a very, very good week, didn't he?
Absolutely. So after the disappointment of having his night ended early in the Premier League in Cardiff, had plenty of time to recuperate, going over to Germany and picking up a European Tour title. So he was very much a positive surprise from the weekend. Jumping back to the Premier League, my man, Stephen Bunting is still struggling, as we see. This is
97 tournament average, 21 180s, and obviously the 5 match plays. His first European Tour title, so fantastic work.
We're staying in a red thing, but slightly more disappointing. My man Stevens continues to struggle. This was just about his worst performance. 87 average, 6'2". Didn't look like it looked like he was right there. Chris Dobie wasn't much better. 90 average. It was a bit of a hash of a particular match, but it was a bit disappointing from Stephen, wasn't it? He's winless after 7 nights, which was something no one would have expected, given the fact that he was more or less the third best player in the world off the back of that World semi-final and the Bahrain title.
I think I've picked him to win a couple of times during our predictions, but it just hasn't gone my way. Lost at Derby.
We need to stop picking him.
No. I reckon if I pick the opposite this week, he'll win. So maybe that will go over the head. No, but again, disappointing. It sucks. It really does. He's got such a big fan base. Everyone loves him, and it's just not working for him at the moment, which is, it's unfortunate. It really is. But I have no doubt in my mind that he'll pick it up when, I don't know, can he still make finals? Well,
probably not.
Mathematically.
Oh yeah, if we get into the mathematical situations, then you can't.
But the way he's playing at the moment just isn't to the standard and the quality of the top at the moment, even though he is in that top 8. So needs to find some form. Needs to find some, just like a good patch of form. Just like he's just been a bit.
Well, what he
all
needs
over
to
the
do
shop.
is he's been practicing well. He says he just needs to bring some of that into the actual matches, which is always a week-to-week thing.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right. So we'll keep tracking him, obviously, but very disappointing. But for the fans, just keep sticking fat. He ultimately he's in the Premier League for a reason.
Yes, he is.
So
he's an entertaining player and he's a very good player. He has not won. I was getting this up earlier. Has not won in the Premier League since April the 23rd, 2015. He beat Gary Anderson 7-1. A Gary Anderson that was only averaging 83. Mind you, he came back later that night. Gary Anderson averaged 105 and beat Michael Van Gerwen. This is 2015 Michael Van Gerwen, so that's a very, very, very good dart player.
Different MVG to what we see
a different
today,
MVG, which I did want to mention that got to the final, got to a semi-final where he lost to Joyce on the European Tour, but still a lot of question marks for mine. It's that release of the dart. I was actually going to bring in my own set of darts to demonstrate this and forgot. The way he's sort of releasing his darts, the dart is pointing down.
Yep.
So by the time he gets to about there, the dart is already pointing down at the floor, the tip of it. Yep. So it's going to be much more difficult. The way he's sort of gripping it at the moment isn't quite. He needs to sort of work on that. It's just sort of a week-to-week thing. If the timing's all right, that's okay, because you can still... he's sort of having to do a lot of movement with his wrist. We see lots of players who have done that in the past. Even Littler's got a little bit of a twist with the wrist.
A little bit.
If you watch his throw in
the
slow-mo.
Yep.
But it's that timing thing. And at the moment, Van Gerwen's a bit all over the place with his timing. Some weeks it's all over the shop. Even there were some visits in Cardiff on the Premier League, which were absolutely shocking. And then there were other visits where he banging in 180s and 140s. And that was very much true on the European Tour. So it's all about timing in those each individual visits. And at the moment, Van Gerwen, though he's the world number 3, he just doesn't have that quite same threat that the MVG of old did, just because he sort of lost that ability to be more consistent with his timing, I think.
No, that's true. No, you're spot on it. There was I think it was a YouTube video, Chris Dobie was showing his throw.
Yeah.
And he made a really good point, was that every single throw won't be the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Every single visit won't be the same. You think, because he naturally holds it pretty upright like this. Bunting's a bit different, but the way he holds the dart and the actual grooves on the barrel will be different.
Everyone's got their own different ones. The other interesting thing with Bunting is he has quite obviously a light dart and a sort of thinner barrel, so the way he grips it is all a little bit different, which is part of the beauty of the game. Everyone's got a slightly different way of going about it.
Barrel size, stem size, weighting, it all makes a difference.
It is all different, and it's pretty much trial and error if you're trying to find what suits you with weight and flights and barrels and that sort of different thing.
Also, say for example, we saw Bully Boy. He tried a variety of different darts and it hasn't been working for him as of recently. But
and Peter Wright, he's just famous. He just always is. He's
well.
always got a different dart. He usually changes darts mid-game. I think the black one's the best one for him, but every mid-game usually he's changing them. So Bunting flop at the moment, still pointless. In terms of, if we're looking at this just sort of in consecutive, and we're just sort of ignoring unconsecutive matches and seasons, the record for the longest Premier League losing streak is 9. A stat shared by Glenn Durrant, who lost all 9 games in his 2021 Premier League, which was actually defending the title he won in 2020, and Peter Wright in 2020, across the end of 2023 and the start of 2024. So we just need a win in either this week or the following week, or else it's bad news for Stephen.
It is.
This is, so I've sort of merged. There's a lot of noise directly across us here. I'm merging here the disappointing moment and the great debate, mainly because I think it fits both categories and it's something that needs to be talked about. I mentioned miscounts earlier at the European. This was one of the most amusing and also frustrating things I've ever seen on a happen on the Oki. Right, so let's get this right. It's the first game of the session of the third round of the European Darts Trophy. So this is the last day of the tournament. So it's the first match of Sunday, right? Cameron Menzies is playing a Mike DeDecker.
He is.
These are two guys they were both knocked out, if I remember correctly, early in the World Championships. Menzies first round, DeDecker was seeded, so that was the second round. Right. We're still waiting, by the way, on news for the World Championship and how exactly that's going to work.
Yes,
we're still waiting. Barry Hearn said by the end of March, so he's got about a week. So if we do not have news by episode 13, bad stuff.
Something's up.
Yeah, something's up. So we'll wait and see. So hopefully next week in the latest news we'll have all the details on the qualification and the prize money for the World Championships. Anyway, as I was saying, Cameron Menzies, he's playing Mike DeDecker. It's 5-5. He attempts a 1-3-8 out, gets 2 treble 20s, misses the double 9. So he's left on 18. Mike DeDecker has 28 left. He misses a double 14 and a couple at double 7. What Cameron has definitely done is he's looked at Mike's score and thought, I need 14, but he doesn't. He needs 18. So he goes 6 double 4, which is a way to take out 14 other than just going straight for double 7.
Yep.
And he falls to the ground in celebration that he's won this match at Charlie Constantine, who again is just always
sharp,
the referee in these miscounts, because it happened with Chisnell at the World Championship. 14, because that's what he scored.
He was onto it.
I love Paul Nicholson's commentary. 6-6, you know that man on 18. He delays Mike DeDecker's approach to the hockey for about half a minute. Mike ends up missing inside on double 7. He should have absolutely gone 6-4 just to rub it in. He didn't do that. And Cameron Menzies ends up winning on double 2. But the real thing for me was just the reaction of Menzies. He's a very emotional player. We know that.
Yep.
But it's getting to a point now where every time he plays, it's just not a good look. It's just not great, compelling television. And that was the great debate. Where are we on Menzies' behaviour? And do we need somebody, whether it's at the PDC, it's another player, just as anybody in his circle, to tap him on the show and say, hey, Menzies, this is not looking good, because you're getting hammered on social media for it. And he was.
Yeah, well, number one, it's not good for his image, is it? Because you watch on telly, or you be there in game, and you see the reaction going, this isn't pleasant viewing. You know, you want to see guys get energetic, up and about, and you're seeing a guy who's just flopping on the ground in a deep state of emotion. Of course, it's a massive game from him. It's 5-5 in the first of 6 encounter. I understand that, but just the way he's going about it is just... It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. He can have a lot more class, and I think he's got a lot more intelligence than what he's currently doing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, and he's a very good dart player when he's on, but he's always been, like, I was looking at some of the stuff on YouTube. He's always been that sort of... It was a game at Lakeside in 2022 when he was when he won a match at the WF World Championship. Yeah, so I just think somebody needs to get into his corner and just tap him on the shoulder and say, hey, mate, you're not making any fans... out of this.
No.
And you sort of need to pack it in at some point, because the fact that he dove to the ground, even though it was a miscount, sort of, maybe I'm speaking into this a bit, looking into this a bit too much, but that for me sort of hints that it's that it was sort of premeditated, that he was going to do something like that.
Potentially.
Yeah. And yeah, but the worst part wasn't so much the falling on the ground, but it was the staying there, the sort of looking at this, oh no, what have I done? And to be fair, Mike DeDecker handled pretty well. He stepped back. He pretty much sensed that wasn't going to happen, so he just sort of waited for a while. And but it definitely would have had an effect on him. But we do need Cameron just to pull it in a little bit, I think, at the moment.
Come on.
Because it's a...
Smarten up.
Because at the moment, it's putting a lot of people off him. A lot of people don't like watching him because they know this is the sort of thing that happens. He just needs, and like I said, got great talent as a player and should be working his way up the up the system. But sometimes he's not really that focused on the actual dart stuff as he's the theatrics around it.
Yep,
Mind you,
agreed.
in the match after beating Dedeker, he averaged 77.14 and a 6-3 loss to Joyce, who averaged 9 on a ton. So a long day for Cameron Menzies. Slightly embarrassing and probably a bit over the top for mine. His reaction to his eventual victory over Mike Dedeker.
It's a bad look for him, and I think the game in its entirety as well. So I think something needs to be done. You're right, especially when he's sitting on there for 2-3 seconds, and then Dedeker's just sitting there going, "Okay, I'm just gonna wait. I'll take my time." But you think for Dedeker, it would put him in an interesting space. You're like, okay, I've got a guy who is just
all over the place.
Absolutely, that's fine, but something needs to be done about it. But then actually locking in to go, okay, I need to pin 7-7 here is another task in itself.
Yeah.
So it needs to be watched on. I think the PDC needs
I don't
to do
know if there's
something about
anything.
it.
I don't know if there's anything the referee can do in that situation because you can basically take as long as you like to retrieve it. But I do feel like there's no shot clock, which is an interesting thing. A lot of sports that traditionally haven't had it. Baseball's a clear example. Recently, they brought in a shot clock or a pitch clock. For pitches, and it has sped their games up. The only thing in darts is that if we had like a 30-second clock, players would be running it down to like 28, 29 seconds.
Yeah, for sure.
So the gamesmanship could be even worse in that sort of situation. So probably not that, but something does need to be done where the referee has the ability to basically hurry Menzies up.
For sure.
Right, let's move on to the future star. I flipped to him early. You probably know this guy because he has been at the Super Series on a couple of occasions.
He has.
Ryan Branley, and that is because, and I picked him this week because over the last couple of weeks he is ahead in the JDC Junior Power League. In that this comes across to me as a sort of Premier League of sorts.
Yep.
For the JDC,
the
they do like replicating the PDC,
which is good. It's good because they can streamline that system when if they get the opportunity.
Yep. Absolutely, and so he's currently ahead on the table. Archie Self is second. Jack Nankervis, who was the future star last week, is third. We've talked about Lex Pahauser, the reigning JDC world champ. Jaden Walker is sixth. The Mongolian player we've talked about is ninth, and Jack Johnson, the Super 16 champ, is 10th. Yep. So it's a very competitive league, and Branley, who's been at the Super Series, is currently on top of it, and is this week's future star as a result, has picked up some wins there. The averages are pretty much all sort of in the 80s, even into sort of the low 90s range, which is already very close to that Q school standard we talk about regularly, 83 to 93, sort of the minimum of a professional standard, and they're very close to it, a lot of these players.
Fantastic.
Through the JDC Power League at the moment. They do have a boys and girls division, so I might look into that next week.
Cool.
Yeah, so Ryan Bradley, who we've seen plenty of at the Super Series, is the future star this week. We will get to the Super Series in a little bit, but Josh did want to take us through the order of merit, and we might as well, because we haven't really done it properly in this segment. So this is the world's top 50, if you can see that. Hopefully that doesn't look too bad. Humphreys Littler still top 2 in the world, but Nathan Aspinall climbing.
Yes. Dave
Chisnell, the Gerwin Price, and Denny Noppert falling. Noppert hasn't had many good goes on the European tour as of late. Joyce climbed after making a run to the final. Wesley Nyman's also up 5 places. This is not a bad time of the year to get moving, particularly as the race for the World Match Play continues to heat up as always.
Absolutely. So you can see the different, like on the yellow arrow says like it's been the same. So
haven't moved.
It compares last year to this year essentially. So there's a few people who have gone up, few have gone down. A lot have stayed the same. Those top 5 have stayed the same: Humphreys, Littler, MVG, Cross, and Clayton. Bunting as well. Similar sort of area. Aspinall's gone up. The interesting ones for me is Chizzy, Price, and Danny Noppert have all fallen a fraction. But the rest is pretty similar to me. Any standouts for you that sort of goes, okay, that's pretty cool, or that guy needs to get moving a little bit?
There are 2 there, but not so much looking at this. I've got something else in front of me here, the World Match Play race.
Yes.
I want to ask you a question,
Sure.
and the answer is either both make it, one makes it, or neither make it.
Okay.
Will Dimitri Vandenberg and or Michael Smith qualify for the World Match Play in the middle of the year? I can tell you right now that the world number 9, who's set to be by the time we get to there, because that's how this system works. We're taking into account where everyone will be money-wise when we get to July. Vandenberg 19, Michael Smith 21, not in at the moment. Michael Smith is 23rd on the Pro Tour Order of Merit, and he's behind Richie Headhouse in 16th by £6,500. And I have no idea what Dimitri Vandenberg is on the... Oh, good grief. Where he is. He can only make it if he goes top 16 in the world. And he's behind there by about 16,000. My take on that is Dimitri Vandenberg probably won't, and Michael Smith might still, but he probably needs a good week on the Euro Tour or somewhere.
Yeah, I think it'll be close. Who would you say has been in better form currently, Vandenberg or Smith?
Well, Vandenberg probably overall, but I trust Smith's floor form more over Vandenberg.
That's true. Then on the telly, it's a good point.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't think either makes it at this point, unless they pull out a crazy week on the Euro Tour, similar to what Ryan Joyce did this week.
Yes, that's true.
He's currently sitting in the match play positions. He's number 14 on the Pro Tour Order of Merit for the World Match Play race. I reckon they might both miss Vandenberg and Smith, which would be big misses. Vandenberg's a former winner and hit a 9 data there last year, and Michael Smith's been a regular at all the majors, but at the moment, the 2023 World Champs not there to be seen. Smith more likely, but I reckon they're not going to make it at this point, just based on current form. Though there's always time to change. If that timing comes in, particularly in Michael Smith's game, where we know the timing can be just immaculate and he can be hitting big scores and big averages. They only need one good weekend to pull themselves up. Peter Wright also, mind you, is on the slide. He'll probably hold on, but he's number 14, so he's going to get a tough second round draw. Should he win in the first round, it's going to be a tough first round draw anyway, because the Pro Tour Order of Merit is very strong with Schindler, De Decker, Van Veen, Neumann, Menzies is in there. Ross Smith, who had another good weekend. Joe Cullen usually pulls out a big performance. Barney still in there. Gilding, Joyce, who I reckon is really motoring towards a major title very soon. Woodhouse, Headhouse. So the World Match Play race is one to keep an eye on. Here's the back half of the top 100 we've put on screen. Adam Hunt has moved up a few places. Nico Springer as well.
He's been one to watch.
He's been an interesting one.
I've been hearing him a lot on the Tungsten Tales that you listen to, and also on the Modus. They spoke about it last night when I was watching Mervyn King, which we'll get to in just a moment. But he is one to watch, so just clip this, I reckon, because Nico Springer is one to watch. I think he'll be very close to winning something in the short term.
Wow, big call that. But yeah, the way he's looking at the moment, he played... let me get this up in front of me in the right spot. He played Michael Van Gogh and he beat Daryl Gurney at the weekend, and then very close against Michael Van Gogh and only lost in the last legger.
That's what I'm saying. So
he is looking good. Nico Springer at the moment. Modus Super Series time. It is week 8 has just come and gone, and Devon Peterson was the weekly winner.
Yes, the ADC. Did he win the ADC?
He won the ADC Global Championship. Can I just do something here, Josh, while we're here? Because we just spoke about Modus, I'm just going to check that this camera is still working. So
that's a good idea.
Given that last week we know what happened.
Good idea.
Alrighty, camera's still working, thank goodness. Just had to double check because last week this was the point of the show where it conked out.
Went kaput.
Devon Peterson, Josh.
Yes.
Modus Super Series Week 8 winner.
Yes, your ADC Global Championship from last year. He made it through to finals night and looked good all week, actually, I got to say. Pretty high average, competed well, battled hard, and he is your winner. We've seen a bit of him on the floor a little bit, and also on Modus a fair bit. If you look forward to this week, we've got a very big name who is in the house making his debut in Portsmouth. We have Mervyn King into the live lounge.
This is a pretty good week at the Super Series. Some good names.
Yep. More notably is Steve West as well. Who's been interesting regular all week. Yep. James Richardson as well, semi-regular. Who else? Tommy Leishman's been a couple of times. Maxi Jong been a bit there a few times. I haven't heard of Renee Adams before. He might be new.
Renee Adams, I reckon. I think I know that name from something, from a bit of darting history. I'm going to work it out.
Okay.
I reckon this is this guy.
He hasn't performed well this week, unfortunately, which we'll get to in a moment.
Yes, so Renee Adams, his claim to fame in 2016, he nearly beat Michael Van Gerwen at the World Championship.
Really?
3-2.
Okay.
He was down 2-0. He roared back 2-2. I think it might have gone to like 3-1 or 3-2 in the last set. I'm pretty sure you can watch it. The game's available on YouTube.
Yep.
He came through the preliminary round before, back when they had the preliminary round. He won his preliminary round game and then nearly beat Michael Van Gerwen a few days later. So that's his sort of claim to fame. I'm pretty sure I was looking at that going, I'm pretty sure Renee Adams is that's where I've seen that name before. He even played. He's sort of played sporadically on the European tour as a German qualifier. Most recently at last year's European Darts Grand Prix, and he's played at the UK Open a couple of times.
Interesting. There's
he's
fun fact for you.
He's played in a few Challenge Tour and Euro Tour events. I think has he won a Challenge Tour? I'm not maybe. I'm spending too much time at his Wikipedia page at the moment. Yeah.
Nonetheless, good to see him, and that's an incredible effort. So that's claim to fame, as you noted.
Yeah. So just going back to that World Championship, he averaged a 69.25 in that preliminary round win, which was 2-0 in sets, and then fell 2-0 down against Michael Van Gerwen. However, he won the first leg of the new set with a 1-2-2 finish on the ball.
Oh, that's nice.
He took 5 of the next 6 legs to send the match to a deciding set. A tiebreaker was required to settle it, and Van Gerwen won the 2 legs he needed to edge out Renee Adams, who averaged 90.48 in a 3-2 to set tiebreak loss to Michael Van Gerwen. So that's his, like I said, claim to fame.
Interesting.
But he's sitting currently 5th at the moment in the Group A standings.
Hasn't had the best week.
We're recording this on the Wednesday again, so we've got 10 matches down here. Mervyn King, perhaps not surprisingly, sitting there up the top. 8 wins, 2 losses, ahead of Atkins De Jong West, who's a Modus regular and is still the only man to ever hit. I'm pretty sure it's Steve West, the only man who's hit a 9-dart finish against Luke Littler. Adams is 5th and Huntley is 6th. That's in any competition.
Yes, and
recorded at least.
He nearly hit a 9 as well.
And he hit
Monday night, I think.
This week.
Was it Monday or no? It was Monday.
It would have been Monday. Yeah.
He went treble 19, treble 9. Sorry, let me get that again. Treble 20, treble 19, and just missed double 12, and that seems to be his regular route. He has hit it 3 times on the motor stage, believe it or not, and that would have been his 4th, which would have been the most ever on the live lounge stage. So good to see. But for him, I have watched a little bit of him this week, last night notably. His averages has been good, but the one thing that's been letting him down is the doubles.
I had a feeling you might say doubles.
The doubles has really been letting him down, and it hurts. It hurts because he has been renowned for a heavy 180 hitter and a heavy scorer in general, but I think Henry Deacon mentioned this last night. I think it was 11 from 60 on the outer ring, which is
not good.
Very, very poor. That's nowhere near the standard that he is at for his regular playing wise. So hopefully he picks up because he is one of my favourite players on the stage.
Yes, I know that.
So good to see him back. And yes, I think Mervyn King will definitely be the favourite, but it is very close to the top 16, 14 and 12 points there. So come into the Wednesday night, which is called the moving day, as they say.
Yes, moving day.
So see how that goes. I think King will progress to finals tonight, and then whoever goes Group B and Group C to join the likes of Martin, Richardson, Baker, Williams, Leishman, and Jonathan Platt. We will find out very shortly, but that's your current Group A standings.
Yes, after week 9 of the Modus, and this is what it looks like for Champions Week. Small, Walker, Spivey, McGurk, Robertson, Campbell, Coulson, and Peterson are in there so far. Just quickly on Devon Peterson, he's one of the great characters in darts and has done so much for the growth of the sport on the African continent.
Absolutely, I was going to mention that.
So it's always good to see him winning and playing well, and he was very impressive on finals night at week 8, of course, picking up the title. Now, Josh, we'll get to our Premier League predictions and our spreadsheet in a moment, but we're going to take a slight unusual path here on the 9 Dart Podcast. We don't usually talk world events, global affairs, if you will, but we have to at the moment because DOS players all around the world might find themselves in a little bit of a sticky situation at the moment. There's some tungsten troubles around the world.
This is news to me.
If you are like I am a listener to the Mission Darts podcast with Matthew Edgar and Andy Cornwell, you will know that this has been a regular talking point for the last few weeks, and I thought I had to bring it up. China is the world by miles biggest extractor, exporter of tungsten, which is what most darts are made out of. Yes, you can have brass darts, but they're poor.
Not as good quality.
They're not very good.
No.
So basically, all the pros, all the pub players, they want tungsten, good quality tungsten darts. Unfortunately, though, the leader of the free world is engaging in a trade war because he said, I want to do tariffs once. So now he has to, because he can never admit he's wrong, he has to do this now for the next 4 years. So because of tariffs and a lot of other things happening in the world economy, tungsten is now much more expensive, and it's also taking it much longer to come out of China. So a lot of darts that get made using Chinese tungsten, they're taking a little bit more while to be shipped across, a little bit more expensive as well. So this is something we're going to keep an eye on, and they have been keeping an eye on it at the Mission Darts podcast, that if you're wanting to buy a new set of darts, it's probably, don't wait too long. If you want to get, like, I don't know, we'll talk about the Matthew Edgar darts, so they're talking about on the Mission. If you want a new Stephen Bunting, Luke Littler darts, you should probably get it soon, because the price of tungsten is only going up from what I'm hearing. And so this is going to be one to watch, because the world is this is having a big impact on both the transportation. It's taking a little bit longer to transport tungsten, and the price of darts are going up apparently in various parts, pretty much every part of the world. And because, like this shows, it's pretty much all. There's a tiny little bit of Australia. We produce we produce what's that? 1,000 tons of tungsten, but that's a long way short of what China is pumping out there at the moment. So yeah, we're in. Darts players around the world will be in a little bit of trouble if they want to buy a new fresh set of tungsten darts. They might find that it's a little bit more expensive and it's taking a little bit while. So we're just keeping an eye on what's happening. There's some tungsten troubles around the world, Josh.
We'll see if we go into Rebel Sports or Sportsmart, they might increase the price.
The price for tungsten darts might be a little bit more expensive at the moment.
Yes.
We'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, this news is mostly coming definitely from a UK standpoint, because that's where the Mission Darts is, and where most darts get transported, because that's where the biggest demand is. Because, like we know, Luke Littler effect, the demand is very high at the moment, but the price and transporting tungsten is getting much more expensive at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on that. Tungsten's been a big has been heavily impacted in the current sort of trade war economics that we're in at the moment, and have been for about the last 2 months. So, we'll keep an eye on that. But there's some tungsten troubles around the world at the moment. But we will look forward to what's happening this week. Premier League spreadsheets.
Yes.
Everyone's played everyone at least once now, thank goodness. Stephen Bunting has literally played everybody once, and he's lost to all of them. He's on only 7 matches. He's got 10 less than Luke Littler, who's on a full 17.
Yeah, wow.
I said, what did I say in episode, I think 2 or 3 of this show, that Phil Taylor won something like a bunch of them in a row right at the start of the Premier League. It was like 30 or something. He's pretty much halfway there, Littler. So I might get that next week. So as you can see, at the moment, I mean, Littler's column is a very interesting read. He's played 3 matches against Aspinall, 3 against Rob Cross, 3 against Van Gogh, and a full 4 against Luke Humphries, and a couple there against Price, and 1 with Bunting and Doby to make up the 17. So that 4 of Humphries and Littler appears to be. I hope I've done that right. Where's Humphries? I'm trying to look at this properly. Where is? Yeah, I think I made a slight error that Van Gogh and Humphries one on the Littler column should be the other way around. Okay. It should be Littler, Van Gogh have played 4 times. Humphries and Littler have only played 3. Is the Van Gogh one also on 4? Yeah. So I've made a slight error there in the Littler column. It should be 4 under the Van Gogh and 1 and 3 under Humphries. I didn't realise my error because it added up to 17, so that's all I was looking at. Didn't realise that it didn't quite all line up. I need to track it both ways, going down as well, making sure that all adds up. Yep. So Humphries has not played Littler 4 times. That's Van Gogh. They've already played each other 4 times and keep producing cracking matches as a result. Let's look ahead. So it's 9-8 of the Premier League. At the end of this, we'll be exactly halfway through the regular season of the tournament, if you will. We'll call it halfway.
Yes.
As a result, night 8 and night 16 means you play everybody. You play in the sort of reverse order in the first round matches, reverse order of the standings. That means 1 plays 8, 4 plays 5, 2 plays 7, 3 plays 6 in that order. So, Josh, we'll get into prediction time.
Let's do it.
Will it be a continued winning ways for Luke Littler, or will Stephen Bunting find himself the most miraculous of upset victories? He has beaten him before, this year even, out in Den Bosch, as they go in for Newcastle, which is Chris Dobie's home event.
Yes, look, I really hope so, but unfortunately I will have to go against your man. I'm so sorry, but look, Littler's just in crazy form. It is hard not to pick him. He'll definitely be the favourite by the books. That's very much so, but I'll go 6-2. I reckon he'll pinch a couple legs off him.
All right, I'll be a little bit more optimistic and say 6-3 Littler.
Okay.
Price Cross, repeat of last week.
Yes, it is.
First round, rinse and repeat, or a bit of revenge for the Iceman?
I think it will be Price 6-3.
Okay.
I think it'll be a close one, but I think it'll be close early, but then Price will blow it at the end a little bit there.
Alrighty. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to cross 6-4. I'm expecting good things from Voltage. He was a little bit disappointing. Lost to Joyce early in the European Tour. This week, pretty sure that was first round as well. Was that first round? Maybe it might have been second round. Yeah, it was second round. Sorry. Third round. His second match. All right, I'm going cross 6-4. So I've got Littler cross. You've got Littler Price. Bottom half of the draw, Humphreys Dobie. Can Dobie find his third quarterfinal win, or will Humphreys continue? I think we're in agreement of cool hand, probably.
Humphreys will get through. I think 6-2 in this one, but we'll find out.
I was going to go the exact same score, so I'll just say that. Humphreys 6-2. And lastly, Nathan Aspinall, the recent European Tour winner against Michael Van Gerwen, who made a final last week, got to a semi-final on the European Tour. How was MVG's timing? I'm tossing up between this one. I might toss a coin here.
I think it'll be pretty close, actually. Aspinall had a great week, as we know, but I think MVG will just get over the line. I think it'll be a really close one, and we'll go 6-5 last leg decider.
To Van Gerwen?
To Van Gerwen. Yes, sorry.
So did you say that, or was either you didn't say it or I wasn't paying attention? I will go the way of the green machine. That's 6-4. I reckon Van Gerwen's gonna win this week, I think, but that's a very tough one. I'm going to look forward to that match probably more than any other this week. Van Gerwen v Aspinall. All right, give me a final, give me a result, give me who will be on the thumbnail probably for episode 13, Josh.
Well, top half will be Littler, and then bottom half will be Humphreys, and I think Humphreys will get the victory 6-4.
Alrighty. I said this. Hello, Woodsy. I said. Mark Woods is in the room. Footy chat is coming up. We're right at the end of the show, Woodsy. So we'll manage. We'll get to the end of this one, and then we'll let you in here. We've already got the red up for footy chat, which will be coming up. Will probably already be done by the time this is out. Right.
Your final. And
my final will be Humphreys from the bottom. I agree. But I said last week that I liked Cross to potentially win, and I'm going to go a little bit bold. I'm going to say he beats Littler on the way there, and he's going to be both Lukes on the way there. Cross 6-4 in the final over Humphreys. I reckon he's due for one. I don't think he's ever won a Premier League night.
No,
he hasn't. 2024 or 2025. So I reckon he's just about due. Rob Cross, and after the shorter week. Or the longer week, actually, I should say. I reckon it's going to be a promising week for the man currently sitting 5th in the standings.
Last league standings, yes.
So, there's a long way in front.
Flying
6
ahead.
points. Remember, 5 to win a night, so he's more than a night ahead. Humphreys sitting in 2nd. They've stayed stationary. I think 1 and 2 are pretty much locked up. It's going to be hard to see either getting knocked off there. And it's just 3, 4, 5, and 6 for mine. The 4 guys fighting over 2 places. I don't think it's a done deal that Van Gerwen and Price.
You're right.
Will necessarily be through. I don't think this is a locked-in top 4 by any means.
Yep, I think you're right. 3rd to 6th.
3rd to 6th, I reckon.
Close. Only 5
Dobie
points
and Bunting, unfortunately, are going to be in a slightly different category at the moment.
But again, there's still 8 weeks to go. We're at the halfway point. But I think you're right. It'll be very close in that sort of.
Those 4.
6th area.
That
but
sort of middle 4 of the
middle
table.
4. Yep.
We always wrap up with the darts archive. We'll start with last week, and Michael Van Gerwen got a win over Gerwen Price. Price missed a couple of darts to, I think it was level at 8-8. Or was it 8-8 or 9-9? I can't remember now. But he had darts to level. And Van Gerwen got within one of the match as a result of checking out the next throw, and got the job done at 10-8 in a game where both players basically averaged 107.5. this week, this was a classic game, and you often see this being picked up on social media, do the rounds every now and
Premier
then.
League belter. It was
Mike Van Goen and Gary Anderson in the 2018 Premier League in Newcastle, which is where we are tonight. The first 6 legs is some of the greatest starts you'll ever see. There are 180s, there are big finishes, there's a 9-dart attempt, there's a big fish attempt. It all happens. The 5th leg is maybe one of the greatest legs of all time. So check that one out. It's done in less than a quarter of an hour. It is a fun, action-packed match. Like I said last week, you don't necessarily have to have Michael Van Goen for a classic match, but it sure does help, and having Gary Anderson helps as well.
Best
so
12
I've got a short one for you this week for the Darts Archive. MVG Anderson, Newcastle 2018. And that wraps up everything for another big show of the 9 Dart Podcast. Thank you very much, Josh.
My pleasure. Thanks for being here.
Alrighty, so that is just about all we have time for. Footy Chat will be coming up very shortly after this. Like I said at the top of the show, looking forward to speaking to you about Carlton, Josh. And I'll be looking forward to speaking with you for lucky episode number 13 next week.
What's going to happen then?
We will see you next time. Thank you very much, Josh.
Thank you very much.
And make sure to like and subscribe and follow all related extra time social media content, of course. Thank you very much for listening to yet another big episode. This has been the 9 Dart Podcast.